Assalamualaikum and greetings everyone. My name is Nur Atira binti Muhammad Zuki and I will be presenting my paper which titled A Study on the Fossilization of Word Mispronunciation among UPTM final semester degree in TESL students. So the central catalyst that has led me to conduct this research is centered around this issue, where the focal point of this issue is about the pronunciation errors that has been ingrained during the early exposure of English language. So this issue has been discussed widely over the news where one has become a hot potato back in 2020 during the MTO period, where a science teacher was hired to become a host for DDEC TV to teach students online. However, she received backlashes due to her broken English. Social media users also raised their concerns on the quality of the education and questioned her credibility to teach the students. Next, I will show a few seconds peek of the mentioned video.
From the picture, you can see that after a year.
Due to the issue, I have grounded three objectives to solve the issue. The first objective is to determine the frequency of word mispronunciation. Secondly, is to elicit the factors influencing the word mispronunciation. And thirdly, to determine the effects of word mispronunciation towards the learner's language acquisition. Next, this study is conceptualized around this framework where we can see that there are two main variables that affect the pronunciation errors, where the first variables is the teacher's knowledge, teacher's proficiency, and teacher's experience. Next is the factors affecting the pronunciation errors, which is the early learning, lack of exposure, and as well as the habitual error. We can see that there are two theories by the Noam Chomsky's linguistic theory, which supported the two variables or the two catalysts, which are the language acquisition device (LAD) as well as the universal grammar. And we can see that the selective fossilization hypothesis also involved in the making of the phenomenon. While conducting this research, I have utilized the research design mixed method, which is qualitative supported by quantitative, and the sampling technique used was the random sampling, and the population example is the final semester degree in TESL students, which is resulting a total of 82 students, but I used only a sample size of 70 according to Crashey and Morgan. And the instruments used was the survey questionnaire as for the quantitative and oral pronunciation test for the qualitative method. Next, we can see the findings on research question 1, which is the frequencies of word mispronunciation. There are a total different numbers for correct pronunciation and incorrect pronunciation, where I have put together the comparison of IPA transcription, the correct one, and then the common participants error, where we can see the different of the pronunciation that they have made. From the errors, I have categorized them into different types of errors, where the first one we can see the diphthong error, where they incorrectly pronounce the "o" sound, which is yolk. And secondly, the length of vowel errors, which is the "u" and "u. And the third one is the consonant errors, which is the incidental sounds, where they mistakenly pronounce the "t" sound with "t" and "d." And the consonant error, fricative sounds, with they pronounce as "z." As well as for the consonant errors, which is the silent consonants, also known as the epentheses, they mistakenly pronounce it and did not silent the word, like the word sort and that. They pronounce the word as swat and that. And lastly, the category is the word stress errors, which is the intonation and pitch. The word record or record, they pronounce it as record, which is a direct translation from Malay language. Next is the findings on research question 2 about the factors, which is we can see the top two highest factors they agreed on was the teacher's background, which is about the education, as well as the peer influence, which promoted the errors more. Next, moving on to the findings on research question 3, which is about the effects of language acquisition on the learner. So we can see the top two is the effect of mispronouncing words. They will develop inferiority complex and will also induce negative impressions on themselves. And these are the teachers also agreed that teaching pronunciation is a challenging task, and they have also agreed and come together that they want to execute the teaching presentation by using teaching aids, and they think that by using teaching aids they will be more effective. As for the main findings for this study, the findings reveal that the vowels and consonants account for the majority of the most common pronunciation errors, and fossilization can be caused by any combination of environmental or personal factors. So the implications of this study is that the findings of the study serve as a basis that students' language acquisition was heavily impacted during early age, and a learner's first language also influences their second language learning and usage significantly, especially in pronunciation acquisition. So, in conclusion, we can see that a speaker's interchangeability or intelligibility is a measure of good communication. So, if the necessary teaching interventions are not implemented, then the pronunciation errors can progress from challenging to ingrained or fossilized and can harm the efficient communication. So, these learning difficulties should be addressed early by preventing the teacher from committing the errors and providing only correct input for the students. Therefore, thank you from me.